Moridgan Ellanor Frost was born the daughter of Helen Whitecrest, a human noble, and Mornell Dryalis, a drow bard. Moridgan is the youngest of 5 children and is considered illegitimate. Being that she is proof of her mother's infidelity, her very existence placed significant strain on her parents' relationship. Roderick Whitecrest, Helen's husband, made life quite difficult for his wife after learning of the affair. He never took his resentment out on the child, however, he never claimed her as his own either. He tolerated her presence and believed he was doing her a kindness by allowing her to stay in the castle. Her mother, on the other hand, resented Moridgan for the abuse she'd suffered once her husband learned of the affair. She would often openly humiliate and degrade her daughter. From an early age, she was forbidden to refer to Helen as her mother. Sensing the hostility, Moridgan's siblings also turned on her. Her drow blood caused her to physically mature rather quickly, and her exotic beauty earned her a fair amount of negative attention from men. When Moridgan turned 15, Roderick mandated that she could only leave the castle with a chaperone. A year later, she was no longer allowed to go outside. In that time, 4 bodyguards had been dismissed due to inappropriate behaviors. Roderick's ruling had little effect on Moridgan's behavior, as she became increasingly more reclusive during this time. She preferred to read and write rather than interact with others. Her favorite books romanticized the idea of running away and were filled with all manner of adventures. On her 18th birthday, Moridgan became aware of her family's intention to sell her to a neighboring noble. With only a week remaining in her home, she snuck out of the castle in search of what she believed to be her first and only opportunity to enjoy herself. Whilst out in the town, she encountered a male tiefling by the name of Redacted. He stood out amongst the sea of humans, not only because of his fiendish blood, but for his kind words and gentle personality. He spent the first part of the evening regaling the crowd with tales of his adventures, but he soon took an interest in the sullen half-elf drow sitting alone in the bar. After a few drinks, she confided in him about her current situation. He was angered by the injustices she suffered and told her to run away. Being she had lived a fairly sheltered life before then, she was hesitant. However, as the evening progressed, she became increasingly infatuated with the handsome tiefling. He was the first person to treat her as a person, rather than an object or a nuisance. She agreed enthusiastically, and together they snuck into the castle and liberated 250,000 gold pieces from her parents' vault. Redacted was placed in charge of managing the finances, as Moridgan had never really needed to worry about money before. The pair traveled together for about a year, and they quickly became intimate. Moridgan was eager to share her personal history, while Redacted omitted many details about his past. During their travels, Moridgan became a full-blown adrenaline junkie, teaching herself how to pick pockets and gamble. She also learned how to talk her way out of most situations. She also discovered her love of booze, despite her weak constitution. Roughly a year into their travels, Redacted disappeared in the middle of the night, without a word, without a note. He took the gold, but paid for their room for 2 weeks. Moridgan naively waited there for him to return. Once she realized he wasn't coming back for her, she was heartbroken. She promised herself that she would never feel that pain again. She would never trust someone the way she had trusted Redacted. After all, the only people that can disappoint you are the ones you give that power to. The events of the campaign take place roughly a year or 2 later. During that time, Moridgan set out to have her own adventures, doing whatever and whomever she pleased. Moridgan puts forth a bold, charming facade, but anytime somebody brings up her writing, she quickly becomes sheepish and flustered, embarrassed that anyone would be interested. Despite this, she dreams of one day publishing her adventures. Her hope is that by sharing her experiences, she can inspire young girls to take control of their life and write their own story.